everybody. It's Coach Judith on Makeup or Breakup. What a great day we have today. It's sunny, but we're talking about the holidays and stress.
Yeah, and stress. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Lou, you stressed?
I'm stressed.
Still shopping?
I got yelled at yesterday for being stressed too.
All right. You're not making that up, are you?
No, I'm not making that up. I didn't get yelled at for being stressed. I get yelled at for expressing my stress.
Right?
That was the big difference right there.
Hey, like one cup of coffee said to the other, espresso yourself. Come on.
Espresso yourself. Yeah.
I know I'm cheering myself up with my
Fa la 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 la.
fa la 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 la. Yeah. Remember that from the Christmas story? Fra ra 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 ra.
Oh yeah, exactly. I have managed, by the way, and there are a couple that I really like, but I have managed to get through so far without seeing a Christmas movie.
Wait, you managed not to see a Christmas movie?
Yeah, I have not seen a Christmas movie yet.
Yeah, I don't think
I'm not sure how that happened, and there are actually a couple that I like. So,
yep. What are your favorites?
Oh, Elf.
Elf is good. We own that one.
Yeah, Elf is probably my favorite. And my favorite classic Christmas. Everyone loves It's a Wonderful Life, of course, and I do too. Yeah. But White Christmas is my favorite classic one.
Yep, that's a good one.
Oh God, I love that movie.
Yep, that's a good one. That's such a classic, isn't it?
Yep. The Jim Carrey Grinch is pretty good. I'd watch that. Yep.
Yeah, I own all these movies, and we're missing like half of them.
Oh, why? What happened?
I don't know. We're looking around. I'm thinking they got packed into a box and into the attic when they should stay in the living room. I don't know.
So what's your Christmas music, and do you and your husband have the same Christmas movie, and do you have the same favorite?
Yeah, we both really love It's a Wonderful Life. I love Elf. I mean, he likes Elf, but he doesn't like Jim Carrey. I don't know why. He just really doesn't like him. So
no Grinch.
So he has a hard time watching that, but I'm like, I think.
Oh, Will Ferrell. He doesn't like Will Ferrell. Yeah.
Oh, he doesn't like Will Ferrell. That's right. Yeah.
Oh.
Right.
That's a great movie.
I know. I love the movie.
You're an angry little elf, aren't you? Love that movie.
Yeah. I think the best part is when he finds his dad. Oh my God.
Yeah.
And then when he goes like this with the lights on the elevator, I mean, who wouldn't want to do that just for the fun of it when you're in an elevator, that impulse to do something wacko, you know?
Next, my ex-wife loved It's a Wonderful Life. And at one point we got this book about the 75 Jimmy Stewart movies. And we made an attempt to see them all, but some of them were really tough. We saw most of them, but a good amount of them, but some of them are really tough to find.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And maybe not even that good.
And maybe not even that good. Yeah. Fair enough.
Yep. Too funny.
Especially the Westerns. I'm not a big Western guy.
Yeah. You got to be into that.
Except for Yellowstone. Yellowstone's the best.
Oh, you know what? We still have to watch that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I keep talking about it, but something's messed up with Netflix with us, believe it or not.
You got to catch up to Yellowstone, and they just started a prequel to it, the origin story of the ranch, called 1883, and that was really good too. The first episode was really good. Yeah.
Nice. Well, today I thought we'd talk more about the holidays and the stresses, and it sounds too easy to say, but I think at a certain point, when you're talking about today is Tuesday, and if you're celebrating Christmas, that's coming up on Saturday.
Yep.
One of the ways that I always suggest people take a breather is, if you haven't written the list of what you have, it's hard to go out and shop, and it's like throwing darts into the air, right?
Yeah.
Because sometimes we overstress and we forget the fact that, there's gloves in this bag. I forgot about that. And the other thing is, a lot of times we overshop, and then the other person sits there going, wow, like I feel so guilty. All I got you was a pair of mittens. And I think in terms of this show, where we're talking about, well, first of all, my love coaching is for people who are dating, or they're married and they're trying to fix the marriage, or not related to the same two groupings I just mentioned, or they're a completely new client and they're looking to separate and divorce. And they may well be in that process right now.
Yeah.
What I tell people is do what's comfortable and what's working. So in other words, I have a client who's out in Chicago, and he is just trying to keep it together during the holidays because he's very upset that his wife had an affair and now she's leaving actually for this guy.
Yeah.
But they're living together during this divorce process, which is not uncommon anymore.
Wow.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I tell people, find a couch. You know, if you really don't have any friends, I mean, that's a whole other topic, right?
Yeah.
But find a couch, rent a room in someone's house, look for that. You know, especially if it's like a divorced dad or a divorced mom, you know, you're going to help them pay their mortgage by giving them $500 or $600 a month for a room.
Yep.
You need to swallow your pride and not be trying to say, well, I need to go out and get a $3,800 apartment.
Yeah. Right.
But one of the things that's difficult right now for him, as you can imagine, there's a lot of hate right now. I mean, I hate that word, but
Yeah.
hate is an actual emotion, right? I mean, I always used to tell my son, don't use that word, you know, but really it's pretty hard, and they have to live together because they don't have a lot of extra money, even though eventually the house will be sold. But she's doing all these crazy things. Like she took the kids a couple of nights ago in one of the suburbs outside of Chicago. They had this lighting event.
Oh yeah.
Right. And she took they have 3 kids. So she took the 3 kids and didn't include him.
Mm.
And so there you have like this disconnect with like the family time, which is kind of fake at this time. Right.
Right.
Well, I always say when it's healthy and you can do it, fake it till you make it. But here's an example of a wife, a spouse, who's not making that concerted effort, right?
Yeah.
She also went out and bought a bunch of things for the kids and only put her name on them. They're like under the tree.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And when you're confronted with something like this, don't be a sucker and just go with the flow.
Right.
She's, you know, up to the ante a little bit. And like, unless you're going to go scribble your name on those boxes, which isn't going to go over too well on Christmas morning, you need to go out and figure out a way to get one really fun toy, even if it's like the $10 car that has a battery in it. It doesn't have to be the big bike.
Yep.
But find something cool and one special thing for each kid. And I guarantee in 10 years, they're going to remember the one special thing that you got.
Yeah.
Versus your spouse that's out there buying 7 or 8 things for each kid.
Right.
Right. The other thing is I told him he could make it experiential. So it could be a coupon on a fun, handwritten, fun, like, you know, like a big piece of paper, right?
Yep.
Draw on it and do like sleds and things like that. And draw the pictures of the things that you're going to do with them. So say their favorite place is the ice cream store, right? But most kids aren't being treated to ice cream every week, Lou, right?
Right.
So you say a movie and ice cream at the name of the place, even draw a picture of the place and say like, you know, Kelly's ice cream or whatever it is.
Yep.
And make it colorful and then put it in a big envelope, and your kids are going to think you're the bee's knees, right?
Yep.
But buying your kids like lots of pajamas and sweaters and a new game and all these different things, multiples. If you think about it, most of us will remember the one cool thing because it was the cool thing to us at that time.
Right.
We know we got sweaters. We know we got a new coat. We know we got new pajamas, right? Maybe we got a new Barbie doll.
Yeah.
But, you know, if you've got a daughter that loves Barbies and hopefully she doesn't have 100 of them. You get her a really cool Barbie doll. I'm telling you, if that's her thing,
Yep.
you're going to be like a hero that morning because it's like, oh my gosh, another Barbie doll, because that's like her thing.
Yeah.
Also, like I said, the experiential things are great and they don't have to cost a lot of money. But trust me, this spouse is going to be not looking as good because I feel like she's buying all kinds of stuff to try to buy their love. And, you know, it's definitely parental alienation, which the courts don't like.
Yeah.
But we're not going to spend the money to go to court to talk about parental alienation.
Right.
But when you're going through this separation and divorce process, it's important to not feel obligated to raise your own bar because finances can be really tight during this time, Lou.
Yeah.
And all you're doing is buying into the American dream of what these holidays look like, which is lots of expensive, ridiculous gifts, which is like ridiculous gifts. And
well, a lot of us have been raised with the love is money equation, or
right.
money.
And more is better.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Like everybody wants the tree with lots of stuff under it. Right.
Yeah.
But the reality is,
and you know how it goes. You pile up hundreds of toys under the tree and they're done with them by the afternoon. They're back playing with their old toys, or, you know, whatever is just the excitement of opening it, you know, that instant gratification. And then it lops off from there, which is why the experiential package is kind of interesting, because that anticipation is going to continue up until you do the event.
Right. Exactly. You know, you can make it for next week when there's the holiday week, or if the kids are away, you do it when they get back. And, you know, like I always say, like with this guy, like he's got, you know, his kids are from like 6 to 14. So like with the 6-year-old, we're going to do the ice cream thing. And I said, definitely put in there a movie because, you know, the theaters are open again, but maybe you rent a movie at your house. Who cares? Your new apartment, right?
Yeah.
The other thing is I said, look, books are cheap, especially on Amazon, right? There's a lot of book outlets and places. Get a great book that is about, you know, like a little girl or a mouse that goes to an ice cream shop. So just search for those words, right? Yeah. Kids books, ice cream, whatever. And you'll find some and get that. You know, gosh, with Amazon, you'll probably have it in 2 days. Or go to Barnes and Noble and spend full price. But you could have the envelope tucked, you know, put inside the book and then wrap it in a nice bag, which the bags are like $2. Your tissue paper's $4, but you're going to use lots of sheets for all 3 kids. With the teenager, you know, teenagers are weird. They're more into their friends than they are you, most likely. So get an experiential thing, which is you and Bob, or, you know, you and Jane, right? So he and his friend, his son and his son's friend.
Yep. So
I said to him, who's your son's best friend? So he said, I don't remember what his name is, like whatever it is. You know, John.
Yep.
Okay. His paper is going to be all about something that, you know, he and John would like to do. So most likely, because they're teenagers, there's a Chinese restaurant that they like. There's an Italian restaurant, or there's just a pizza and sub shop.
Yep.
Like, what is their favorite place? You know, everybody's got their own thing depending on, you know, where they live and what they enjoy.
Sure.
So put that as it. So even though it's not you going on the experiential gift, you're going to put yourself aside, and you know what? I'm treating you and your best friend, John, and make it into a really fun. I said, look, even though the kid's 14 or 15, they're going to still think this is the coolest. First of all, it's going to be the coolest card they ever got.
Yeah.
And even if they lose it over their lifetime, they're going to remember the time, Dad, you wrote those big cards with be crazy, I say, right? Be crazy. Get stickers. Make that card so much fun. You know, I'm trying to think of, I don't know, a way to do it, but like at Joann's Fabric, where they have like ribbons and stuff.
Yeah.
Get some ribbons. Put some ribbons around it. You can buy like a string of jingle bells. Glue the jingle bells on it, so when they're opening it, they hear the bells shaking.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I should have been a party planner, but it's important to make your experiential not over the top expensive. thing, like that could be a $50 item,
Right.
right? And maybe you get really creative and you take a picture of a pizza or you take a picture of the store and you figure out how to print out the picture, or you email it to Staples and go pick it up for 5 cents.
Yep.
And cut it out and paste it in the middle of this paper card, right? The other thing that I did with my son, which was kind of fun because he was 7 he was 6 when I separated from his dad. So that Christmas, I created a jar, which people have probably heard of, but they don't do it. And it's a jar like this. Obviously, there's more in it.
Yep.
Right. And you put in pieces of paper. Use a smaller jar because you're not going to get that creative today. But I put pieces of paper in it that said, like, I knew that like his favorite stuff was like SpongeBob. So I said, watch 5 SpongeBob shows together. And like, I put that in. Another one was like, have chocolate chip and black raspberry ice cream because those are our favorite.
Yep.
And that becomes a folded piece of paper. So you don't need a huge, you don't need a huge jar. Actually, you don't want it to be a big jar. You want it to be more like this size, right? This is an old candle. By the way, this is a great local Massachusetts company. It's called Kitchen Sink Candle. Kitchen Sink Candle Company.
Yep.
And they're great. They're only like $15 or $16, and they're soy wax, and their burn time is 45 hours. This one is really good. This one is lavender. I love it. But it's not your typical lavender. There's something really good about it. So that would be something too. So say you have a sister who's whatever, 20s, 30s, 50s. Most people like candles. Candles are kind of like a thing. These can be customized. So this one, they'll make a quick label for you that has the shape of your state on it. And they can also do the zip code. So I always say these are really good gifts for realtors to give, right?
Yeah.
They have really, really good sense. And they're right in Bolton, Massachusetts.
Wow.
Where's Bolton, you say? Well, it's down 495, down by Stowe. Where's Stowe? Well, it's like 20
Between
minutes
here
down.
and Pittsburgh. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just south of like Chelmsford, Westford, those areas. But you have a sister, you don't have a lot of money, get her a candle. The other thing I tell people is find like a local chocolate shop near where your friend or relative lives. Call them up, get your credit card or your Venmo account. Talk to the person so you get a personalized gift. And if they're in the same town, they're going to want the business. Just say, is there any way you could deliver this? My sister lives 6 minutes away.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care if it's 6 o'clock tonight on your way home, but I don't want to put it through the mail and I'm desperate. So sometimes people feel like, oh my God, what do we do? It's last minute. But that is a great thing, is to go to their town or a town around where they live and order from a local shop. And they're going to want to deliver your $50 item or whatever to your spouse, or, not your spouse, but like to your friend or something like that. So shopping local, if you call Macy's and say, hey, I want to order this perfume, can you drop it by my sister on the way home? They give me, no.
That's not going to happen.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. Like, yeah, pretty much when I finally get out of here at 9:30 at night, I'm going to go home and soak my feet. Right?
Yep.
And like decompress from all the rude customers that I saw today. But like where you live, that's almost all small independent shops.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of them.
Right. And a lot of those people will drop a gift off because you know what? They just made $50. So if somebody doesn't live far away, or you say, hey, if I give you $10 extra, can you just drive it to their house? Because,
Yeah.
The other idea that you can do is you can send a really nice email to your sister or whoever and say, your gift is at, go pick it up.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want to get an email like that says that, the next town over has a gift at like this really cool gift shop, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
gives them a chance to get out and shop.
Right. Exactly. Hey, that reminds me. Do you have your wind chime up? You better be using that.
Yeah, well, not now because it's winter on Plum Island, and it'll be in Salisbury if I leave it out during the winter.
Oh, okay. Just making sure. I thought that was a great gift.
It was a great gift. Yeah,
You
yep.
know,
Very distinctive. It's part of the house now. It was a great housewarming gift. Yeah.
right. I think that one was emulating. That was one of those big chimes that emulates like a certain lighthouse.
Yep.
The buoy outside of it or something.
Yep.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, excellent. Like I said, I can't put it out in the winter because it'll blow away.
Exactly. And the other thing too is to take some stress off of people. I think we forget this, but you can get online gift certificates, right? You can buy them online and then you get the email. So you can either print it out and put it into a box or put it into a bag.
Yep.
Or you can email that, right? You can email that to the person that you're going to give it to.
Or Amazon sends a little thing to them. We'll send an email and send a little, sometimes there's little gift cards that they can go with it. And, the teenager, they love cash. They love a gift card that they can just go have discretion on what they want to spend it on and go wild a little bit.
Right. I don't buy the Visa cards anymore because there's a fee to activate it.
Yeah.
Which I think is crummy.
Yep.
Like, I get it though. It's because they're not the store that's getting the business.
Right.
That's, it's like, what's in it for me to just have a Visa card where I make no money?
Yep.
So I really think that honestly, people that stress themselves out, and like you said, it's a teenager or someone, if you get a gift certificate for a store that you know that they'd like honestly, you may not know if they like perfume and makeup. So you may say, I'm not going to buy it for Sephora, but most people like clothing. Okay. So you could pick a store that you think they'd really like. It could be Macy's. It could be Ann Taylor.
Yeah.
PacSun, if it's kind of a funky dude, like a cool teenager or 20 something that likes that kind of thing. Even, Anthropologie, that's a cool place because it's sort of funky. Their clothing is funky, but also they have funky housewares. So they have really cool, like mugs and candles and really neat, like dishes and aprons and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the more personalized is good because you're buying it for a store that you're pretty sure that they like. But even like Macy's, if they don't like to buy clothing for whatever reason, they could buy something in the kitchen department, right? Or they could go buy their perfume. But it sort of says, you could do something at this store. The other thing is,
because I gift cards like that, especially like an Amazon or an Amex or something, that's experiential too. Because not only do they get the gift, but they get to think about the gift. They get to go out and shop for the gift.
Right.
They've got some mad money and they can have a night out and go spend it.
Right. Well, the other thing is people aren't good at this, but if you need help with this, call me. So I'm really good at coming up with little jingles and poetry. So again, it's all in it's all in the presentation and the thoughtfulness, which is you don't just get a gift card and put it in a white envelope, right? You go spend, I know it kills me, but you pay like $2.99 and that's on the cheap side for a Hallmark card, but get a really special card. For the $2.99, that's going to go so much further than just like, here's a gift card, or you put the gift card in a little bit of green tissue paper and say, here it is, right?
Yep.
Pay the $2.99 for a really nice card. Or, because that's my jam, is to get a piece of paper, get some markers or something, even if it's like green and red markers, and make it personal and make a little poem. Like I was trying to think of a poem that I had done last year. You could just do, 'twas the night before Christmas when all through the house, no sister was stirring, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like incorporate a way to make a rhyme that's to a Christmas song or poem.
That's personalized. Yeah.
It's personalized. Get their name in there. I'm telling you, it's, you probably don't have a brother-in-law named Kraus, but if you did, you'd be good. So it's the night before Christmas with Alison Krauss. Her feet were stirring, not even her spouse. Like, I don't know. But I don't have Allison to buy for. So these are the things that are important. And right now, today's Tuesday, Lou, and you and I both just admitted to each other before the show, darn it all, here we are again. We
Yep.
still have some shopping to do.
Yes.
And I don't know how you feel about this. Do you have any other like tips and tricks? Because I think that the presentation is important, but I'm not talking about a $30 box to put the gift certificate in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I've worked in with my kids. We've worked into a situation. We were very conscious about not doing the love equals money thing for Christmas, and they did
Okay.
well. They did well on Christmas. Don't get me wrong. And my ex had this. I think you've talked about it on the show. My ex had this thing that she had to make sure that the kids get equal amounts. That was the big thing for her. She was always worried about that they get equal amounts. But
Well, you definitely don't want to get Johnny a sweater and the other kid gets a bike.
Yeah, no,
it doesn't have to be perfect dollar for dollar because they're not going to know. You
right.
know?
We try to instill that message from the beginning that love does not equal money. And my kids are a little bit older, so
Yep.
like you said, they love a little cash or a card where they can go do what they want. I don't know what clothes they like to wear, or my son's not a clothes guy. I don't think he's shopping at the mall at all. But there's going to be something that he's interested that he likes, even if it's just an experience for him to go somewhere and do something.
Mm-hmm,
So that gives them options, and we know that they know that it's not a matter of, it's not lack of effort. The gift certificate isn't lack of effort. It's just giving them the freedom to do what they want to do.
Right. So,
but otherwise, I have no clues. I have problems. I stress over holiday shopping quite a bit.
So how does that work with your kids as far as like, do you just, are you pretty much just getting like, not that they're watching the show, so we don't want to give it up, but are they basically they each get a gift card?
Yeah, I give them a gift card, and I try to get a little personalized gift. We get some things, and they're small. It might be an engraved, coffee cup or something like that. Just something small that's, just got a little thought that, again, is personalized. I like the personalized part of it.
Right. So that's what I'm talking about. Like, so you might get a gift card for some cash.
Yep.
But how about the idea of putting it in like a really nice, like $2.99 Hallmark card, something really special, that kind of talks to them. And then what you do is then you get like one or two small gifts that kind of speak to them. So like, what would be an example of that? Like with your daughter, like what kinds of stuff, like would she like?
Well, we've got this, with my daughter, we've got this saying between us that we've had for years. I always tell her I love her like you read about. And that's kind of a little phrase. It goes back and forth on the notes and texts and stuff like that. She'll just say, like you read about. So I was thinking this year I'm going to get her a coffee mug that just says like you read about on the side, and put the gift card in there. Just to show her, just keeping that little thing that we have between us, that little personal thing between us.
Right. Well, where do you get a mug that says that?
You can go up at the mall. There's I think it's Things Remembered is a place, and you can get glasses engraved and stuff like that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. So that's a really good idea.
Yeah.
I like that.
She gave me, she's getting married in April, and a while ago she gave me, I think was it for my birthday? I think she gave it to me for my birthday, a tie clip that I'm going to wear at the wedding, and I've got it in my wallet right now, and it's got engraved on it like you read about. I love you like you read about.
That's great. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love it. Yeah. I love it.
So it's kind of a little thing, so you just keep that going, and just just cash in on the stuff that you've established over the years.
Right. Exactly. And I think the other thing, so we're talking about people that are going through like separation and divorce, finances might be tight, and anybody watching this might just not be fully caught up with their shopping right now. I have to say,
very daunting, especially if you're not emotionally in a good place. All this is very daunting right now.
It is. The other thing is, depending on where you live, the dollar store has great bags and tissue paper. I find wrapping more and more stressful. You got to cut the paper right. You got to, I find it so much easier to just take the candle, wrap the tissue paper. Yeah. Right.
Yep.
And stick it in a $2 bag.
Yep.
That, because a lot of times what happens to, or what used to happen to me in the past, Lou, is I would get so stressed out because I put people's things in like piles, including like, each person has their stocking stuffers are in their own little bag, but most of the stocking stuffers, we do wrap them because that's kind of the fun of it. But tissue paper is my friend. That is all I'm going to say.
Yep.
I love tissue paper. That stuff, you just wrap it up. And, if it's kind of fragile, you wrap it twice and then you stick it in a bag. I'm telling you, people stress out so much when they, like my husband, I shouldn't say this. Don't anybody send this to him, but he is a perfectionist box, like gift wrapper with the roll of wrapping paper. And the other night he said, I've got this gift and this gift. And I'm like, well, let's start wrapping them and put them into piles around the tree. So when we have to go see your mom, we just grab her pile. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So he's like, yeah, okay. But what I did was I snuck upstairs and I just started wrapping like things for him and my son and my daughter-in-law. Cause I'm like, no way I'm going to have you help me, because he helped me wrap a birthday gift like a couple of months ago.
Yep.
It was like a 10-minute project. I'm like, Jim, like he gets the ends like perfect. And then he like folds them in perfectly. I'm like, that, my friend, is why your wrapping experience is stressful, because it's going to take you an hour to wrap 4 gifts.
Yeah.
I'm like, let's go,
Yeah.
I just can't. He's off grocery shopping today. So I'm like, oh, thank God I can just like do some things in a little while to just like run around. And, but I think that people they also feel sometimes like they have to have the biggest thing under the tree. And that is it's not important. The only thing is, if you're going to get somebody like a $200 gift and it is a gift certificate or whatever, make it really you can make it look really impressive. You can get a couple of tissue papers, get a card, put the tissue paper, and get a big bag.
Yep.
That's perfectly okay. But I do think that people they're nervous that they're going to be, especially with an ex-spouse, they're nervous that they're going to be shown up.
Yeah.
And who wants to be upped by an ex? It's like not a good feeling that like they got the cool gift,
And hopefully you're cooperative enough to balance some things out and talk to each other and work through it. If you're not, that can be very stressful.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right.
I knew somebody with her ex and his new girlfriend. They were giving gifts to the child, and those gifts had to stay at their place.
Oh yeah, I did that a little bit with my ex-husband. I just felt like, get a bike, because it was a hassle to constantly put the bike in the back and all the things. I'm like, just buy some toys for over there, get the kid another bike for $150 for God's sakes, and just be done with it. Yeah.
But then the kid likes it and he wants to take it home, and you have to tell him no.
Right.
Yeah.
That is a hard thing. I used to struggle with that, because then, it might not end back in my house.
Right. Yeah.
But you have to be prepared for that. The other thing that we haven't really talked about is, what do you do if you're in a lackluster marriage? So right now we're talking about people that are divorcing, or they have an ex-spouse or ex-boyfriend with kids. Let's talk a little bit about marriage, because when we're in a relationship, so whether we're married or like in your case, like you have a significant other with a child, but I mean, you're not married, but you guys are doing like,
right.
You're doing life together, you're partnering. And, when those relationships have gone well, it's not really a struggle as much as it is like trying not to feel like you're competing. But I think when things aren't going well, that's really hard, right? It's like, how do you shop for someone that right at the moment, you kind of wish you weren't married to this person, or you're really mad at them because they just quit their job.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, people do crazy things, Lou. You've been in a marriage. I've been married before. I'm married again. But I mean, spouses can be, the spice of life is that people don't stay the same minute to minute.
Yep.
I mean, if they do, that's a whole other issue. But, things change and people do things. And sometimes the steady person in your life does some dumbass thing.
Yeah.
Oops. Am I allowed to say that on the air? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. But some dumb donkey thing. I think the key thing is when things are rocky and you're not necessarily sure where it's going to go, I tell people, don't make it the Christmas don't be fake and go out and buy $1,000 worth of gifts because that's what you do every year for your husband or your wife. You know, if things are difficult and your spouse knows it, don't fake it. I don't agree with like throwing lots of expensive gifts on top of a difficult relationship.
Yeah.
I think because you're going to be ticked off in February when they walk out the door. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like,
Yep.
why did you do that? And then you're going to be kicking yourself saying, yeah, things were really rocky, but I threw like $1,000 worth of gifts at this person.
Or even worse, you know what happens in this country where you're watching TV all the time and people are giving Land Rovers as gifts.
What?
Giving Land
Oh,
Rovers as gifts and cars as gifts. That's
okay.
become a normalized thing, which is just crazy.
Lou, that's so funny that you said that. It must be a guy thing because every time that those ads, there's like 2 of them, right? Every time they come on, and it came on again last night, I sit there and I just look at my husband because here it comes. He's just like, oh, right. Like, yeah, right.
Yeah.
And one of the ads, the guy buys his wife or girlfriend like a truck or something or an SUV, and she comes out and she is so excited, she runs over and goes to his.
No, he bought, I know the commercial you're talking about. He bought an SUV and a pickup truck. He
Oh,
bought
yeah.
a pickup truck for himself. And
Yeah.
she came out and she wanted the pickup truck.
Right. It's my husband's pet peeve. He's like, oh my God, run away from her. Run away from her. Don't give her yours, you know?
But then you wonder why everyone's so stressed because what they're putting up as ideal and routine is, you know, buying your significant other a car. It's like, come on.
Right.
It's crazy.
Right. That's just crazy. And, you know, it's funny because it's not funny, but I have another client who just had work done to their car for $150. They're getting divorced, but they still live together because they have to. They're down in sort of in the middle of Texas.
Mhm.
And so he's such a snarky guy that he said, well, there's your Christmas gift.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, they've got 3 kids, all under the age of 10, and they're going to see that she has no gift from him under the tree.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. That's the
unbelievable.
opposite end of it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then he went, and so they had a Christmas club, you know, like a separate like bank account for saving up for Christmas. He took it, spent all of it on the kids.
Yeah.
So like she has no control over buying the gifts or anything. It's terrible. It's really awful.
Yeah. Wow. And that's the money they saved together. Yeah.
Well, she doesn't work, but technically it's marital asset.
Yep.
You know, but shame on her attorneys. She has a team of attorneys and they're terrible. And this is, you know, not to toot my own horn, but this is exactly why I do what I do, Lou, because she's been suffering through her second attorney, not her first, her second one.
Mm.
And that's why when I'm working with people who are going through just even considering separation and divorce, like that's when you need Coach Judith, because I'll explain all these things. I make sure they hire the right attorneys because I vet them.
Yep.
So, I mean, even my clients, I have a couple of clients in Colorado right now. I did all my research, word of mouth, and calling the attorneys. And I have the meetings with the attorneys and I ascertain if they're decent, caring, and normal priced, which is hard to find. You know, they're not gouging their clients for every second that we're on the phone.
Right.
And it's such a travesty, Lou, because so many people, the majority of people go through divorce. They spend more money than they should have. They have an attorney that doesn't care. And they don't have somebody like me telling them how to navigate through this. And, you know, it's really hard, especially during the holidays. You know, you can't rely on your sister or your brother to like boost up your spirits or, you know, to go to with an emergency thing because, you know, you're going to ruin their holidays and they probably don't even have the right advice.
Right.
So, you know, that's that thing. Let's back it up out of negativity and go to dating. So people that have been dating for, you know, 2, 3, 4 months, right?
Yeah.
What do they do for Christmas? Because now it's like this looming holiday that's like, yeeks, we're not like 2 years into it. What do we do for gifts?
That's a tough call because you don't know how extravagant to go. That's the problem with this. And it's a problem with relationships in general, but it really comes up at Christmas because you can't really go by what you think. You have to anticipate what the other person thinks and what level of gift that they're looking for and what level of gift that they want. And you can go too far and you can certainly go too little. So
Right.
it's such a tough tightrope to walk.
Right. Well, and I'll tell you one thing, Lou. It's easier for you and I because we're older and more experienced. I'd like to say wiser. Um, you know, what's that expression? Honesty is the best policy.
Yeah.
So if money is tight for you, let that person know ahead of time, right? Just say, look, things are kind of tight. So I just want you to know I am getting you something that I think you're going to really like. But I don't have a lot of money. So, I think it's okay to say something like that. Or if you've only dated for 2 months, you could just say, like, be a little more, it's a little late now. It's Tuesday, but you could be a little bit lighthearted about it and be like, hey, so Lou, like maybe on the phone, right? Hey, so I have a fun question. You'll be like, great, shoot. I'll be like, so Christmas is in 5 days. There's something I'd like to get you. Nothing over the top or anything like that. So you don't have to feel guilty.
Yeah.
But like, would that be okay? Because I don't want to make you feel uncomfortable. And that's kind of like a twisted way of finding out what your response is. Because you might be like, no, that's fine. Actually, I got you something already. And you'd be like, okay. I mean, it's not, finances are a little tight this year, which is a nice way of saying you're not going to spend a lot of money. I kind of have to watch my finances right now because whatever, I'm saving up for a house, or my car payments just increased, whatever it is. Think of something, right?
But women have it easy because men will go for that all the time. But with women, a lot of times, I'm getting sexist here, but that's okay.
Nah, go ahead.
Address your cards and letters to Judith.
Yeah, send all your complaints to me.
With women, a lot of times, asking the question of being upfront, of being direct, or trying to get there is something they feel like you should know. It's like you should know it's wrong, or you should know what I want for Christmas. You should put some effort into it and understand what I like. And I want to see you put the effort into it. I want to tell you what I want.
Lou, I don't know why women do that. It is. I mean, they can write to me about it. It does sound sexist.
Yeah.
I don't know a guy out there that says, well, actually, I mean, I have one guy that I dated in my early 30s, mid 30s, Bill, the driving instructor.
Okay.
He probably would have said that I should know him well enough to know what he'd want. And meanwhile, that would be like a fancy suit at Bloomingdale's. Like,
yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Nope, not doing that.
Yep.
He was very materialistic. I was becoming less materialistic at that time in my life, which I think was a healthy sign.
Oftentimes for women, part of the gift is you have to figure out what they want. You have to put the effort in to figure it out what they want.
I don't agree with that.
I know.
Because that's a win. That's a lose-lose, because you may think that restaurant that you had the great time at, she may be like, he got us a gift certificate to a restaurant. Yeah, because you want to, it's your way of saying, I want to take you there again and have a really great time.
Right.
But they look at it like, I thought I saw somebody out there. They look at it as like, really? You just got me a gift certificate to a restaurant?
Yeah.
Women can be so difficult. Or like, say you're like, oh, I know she really likes, making this up, like I like hoop earrings, right? So if my husband got me some pretty hoop earrings, personally, I'd just be happy that it was a sort of a personalized thing.
Yep.
But there are other women that would be like, really? Like, I own these, like that's not original, right?
Yeah.
Or they might be like, wait, what I really want is like the dangly ones. Or they might be like, wait, did Lou just get me silver? Because I really like gold, right? But meanwhile, you're trying, right? She wears earrings. You probably picked something that you thought was pretty.
Right.
It is important to know the other person because, I'm okay with something that's kind of cool but practical. So like, somebody bought me like, a KitchenAid mixer for like $150, like, and I didn't have one.
Yep.
I would be pretty damn excited because, that just helps with all cooking.
Here's the other relationship problem that guys have with gifts is that they will look at it because we don't understand women in this regard. Like we look at the vanity and we look at the bathroom and the dressing area and things like that. And we'll see 1,000 necklaces or we'll see 1,000 fragrances or 1,000 lotions and things like that. And
Yep.
oftentimes a woman would love another necklace or another fragrance, and for us, it's like, you got like 100 of them. What are you going to do with this? That
Right.
type of thing. So it's difficult for us to understand that. And that's where, it's the old cliche, men are from Mars, women are from Venus. But that's something that men have trouble overcoming. It's like, and sometimes though, but that can be a trap because, geez, you got me a fragrance the last 3 years. You just, and that to them seems rote, seems like no effort has been put into it. So
Right.
it's a really more tight ropes that men have to walk in gift giving.
Right. Well, so I forget if my husband found it first. I think I might have found it. Now I can't remember, but there's a perfume designer that I really like called Joe Malone.
Mhm.
And you used to be able to only buy it at Nordstrom's. And now she's got a couple of individual stores in place. I don't know if there might be one in Boston, but there's one in New York City that I found. But I just order online. I don't even go to Nordstrom's. I just order it online because they often have specials online that you don't get at Nordstrom's. And like a special is like, you can pick a small bottle of perfume this big, which is really decent because, you don't need that much. So traditionally, my husband gets me that, not the little one, but like a bigger one. And you know what? It's expensive and the scents are unbelievable. They're all fruit, they're mostly fruit and flower based. So like my favorite one is Earl Grey.
Oh,
Yep. And another one is like, like it's like bergamot and rose.
Yep.
It's like just really cool. And so I think that's great. If I see a Joe, and their packaging is crazy. Oh my God. They have the most beautiful boxes and tissue paper,
See, does he have to fit into the collection? Are there multiple scents or are there?
there's multiple scents.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's really only one or two that I didn't like. So the one that sounds really great is called lime basil, which is kind of cool, but it smells too much like a men's cologne. The lime is, it's a strong limey scent and it's very, I don't like it at all.
Yeah.
But most of theirs, like they have 2 rose scents. And, roses used to be something that you would picture your grandmother, like she might have had like rose water on her hankies and stuff, right? But I cook with rose water. It gives a little essence to like a plain like shortbread cookie. But I love roses. And my mom, I started buying her rose perfume like 12 years ago because somehow I found out that she liked the smell of roses. And this company has 2 different rose. One's called Red Roses, and the other one is the deeper one, which is like rose and oud, OUD. I don't even know what OUD is. I think I looked it up. I don't remember what it is. But they're so rich and they're so wonderful and they're light. So people that don't like something really heavy, they're not that really heavy old lady perfume. They're really cool. I can't even explain it. And if you go to Sephora, where they do sell some of it, not all, they don't have the whole line, but they have some of it. And Nordstrom's has all of it. Nordstrom's, in their makeup and perfume department, they've got a whole section like at the North Shore Mall.
Right.
They'll give you little vials for samples. So like you could ask for 10 if you want. And so the first year, my husband got it for me. He got this special box they had at Christmas that was like 5 of the small bottles to try.
Yeah.
And like the lime basil, I hated it. But I just regifted it. Or you can use it as a room spray. It's okay for a room spray. You just don't want to. I didn't like it on myself.
Yeah.
But the other ones I really liked. And then he said, whichever one of these, if there's one that you really like, I'll get you the full size. They have 2 full sizes. One's like a tall, skinny bottle, and the other one's like a fat bottle. It's like twice as much, But I thought that was really creative. He did that. And I thought that was great. Sephora does it.
Yeah.
Where they have like all these great samples and they give so you pay like $50 for it. It's beautifully packaged and it has all these different samples in it that are pretty good sized. They're like mini bottles like this.
Yep.
And the purpose is to pick it, and then it comes with a $50 certificate to go back to Sephora and buy one of those perfumes, or maybe you go back to Sephora and buy something else that you want.
Yep.
But he did that for me years ago, and I thought that was really clever. Yeah. And then again, if I opened up one of the mini bottles, I didn't like it, I just regifted it. And if the other person doesn't like it, I really don't care. I just made it like a special extra gift.
Yeah.
But I have to go because I've got so many clients to get to today, Lou.
Yeah.
But next week, we will be talking about post-Christmas, putting that behind us and moving into our favorite New Year's Eve.
Oh, God, yeah.
And talking about dating again, because I want to talk about dating in the, 2021s, 2022s, and how I help people with the online dating and why I'm so successful as a dating coach.
All right.
And it's doable. It's doable.
You got clients to get to. If people want to contact you, they can contact you at judithjameson.org.
Right. judithjameson.org. Go to my website and just email me off the bottom of any page. All right. Be well, be healthy, and have a great holiday, everybody. Sweet talking.